Howdy and welcome to the Mighty Muddy Chuck channel. I'm Chuck. Of course, under the video you'll see Charles Peters. That's also my name. Chuck is what I've been known since. I love beauty thing. Yeah. Now this video has to do with writing, which probably a lot of people are more. I've been writing and posting on Amazon for quite some time. I mean, pretty much since the beginning of it, since the beginning of the KDP system on Amazon. But that said, I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert, because there's probably a lot of people that's a lot more experienced than I am. This isn't about, I'm a genius, this is how you do it. Because, no. I just want to talk about some of my experiences. Maybe you can relate, maybe you can't. Maybe you're interested in doing it, but haven't really, done it yet. So, anyway, that's what this video is going to be about. Now, I kind of debated on what I should, really address and talk about regarding writing. And I have wanted this to be kind of a mainstream channel. And when you tell people, or let people know that you've written erotica, it's you pretty much expect there's gonna be one person out there that's gonna say, "Oh no, I'm so disappointed, He should write religious books, erotica. Oh my God, that's awful. I'm so disappointed." And then I might get over that, erotica. Well, okay. And then you tell them that your erotica contains straight, gay, lesbian, bi, and then it's like, oh no! It's not that people are not a lot more tolerant than we give them credit for. I mean, most people are tolerant, but it's just something that's if you write a murder mystery, people don't necessarily expect you to be a detective or a killer. They don't expect you to actually be out there solving murders or out there killing people. They don't, if you write a murder mystery, they don't expect that. But somehow, then when you write erotica, they expect that you're actually doing what you're writing about. And no, no, it's fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. And then you got some people that's in the gay and lesbian community. They're as bad as the religious people. Honestly, they are. What do you know about it? What the fuck do you know about it? Yeah, you don't know a thing about it. Well, I got news for them. The best sex I've had has been with lesbians. Lesbian sex is good sex. That's impossible, Chuck. That's impossible. No, you cannot have lesbian sex. That's physically impossible. No lesbian sex for you, boy. So anyway, the point is you're going to have detractors, and you're going to have a thick skin if you decide to write, even if it's not erotica, even if it's whatever genre you decide to write in, or if you just decide to write, literature, which is really hard to sell, by the way. It's probably, you really need to kind of focus on a genre if you're going to be an indie writer. We all start out where we basically just write, a non-specific story that could fit into lots of genres, and so it just loosely fits into literature. And some really good books are in that, general catch-all category, but they're hard sells. It's hard for people to find them there. So if you're an indie writer, you're pretty much going to have to study the genres, and you're going to have to pretty much try to focus the story you're telling within those genres, and you really need to know what those genres are. I mean, what the reader expects in those genres. When you first start out, you focus on originality, and I still do. I want my books to be as original as I can make them. But as people will tell you on the different forums and all, and I'm not going to dispute what they're saying, if you want to succeed and make money, you need to focus on a genre, and you need to learn that genre, because the readers expect certain things in the different genres. And you need to write for that, and it's easier to promote the book that's in a genre. When we first start writing, like I said, you're pretty much going to write a catch-all that doesn't really fit cleanly in any genre. And that's fine. That's good. That's, and you can publish it in literature, and you can promote it good and succeed at it. I mean, I'm not saying you can't, because people do. A lot of good original works, just simply do not fit cleanly in any genre. But for the indie writer, like I said, most people will tell you that if you're going to try to make money, you need to be able to market the book, and it's easier to market the book to a genre and make sure that you've written the book to that genre. Now, one of the problems with Amazon, and it could be true with some of the other books, I know Amazon better than the other booksellers. I experimented with Kobo for a little bit, and then I've only published in Amazon except for Kobo. And one thing you'll experience with Amazon, the way they do the categories and the way you have to use the keywords to fit into the subcategories. You can't say your book is in this subcategory. You have to put it into a top category, and then you get into the subcategories by putting the keywords that Amazon. You can research it and find. Amazon will tell you the keywords you need to use to go into those subgenres. Now, Amazon may not put you in that subgenre just because the keywords are there, but you stand a better chance of getting into that subgenre if your keywords, if you use those keywords. But the thing is, because you're trying to use those keywords to market your book, and Amazon uses those keywords to put you into subgenres, it's very easy to end up in the wrong genre. And sometimes you'll be in a genre and your book is selling pretty good, and for some unknown reason, your book will get shifted to a different category, a different genre. It ain't gonna sell there. I have no idea why that happens, but at times there's just a shift in the system, and Amazon, whether it's an employee trying to hurt you or just some logarithm or whatever, I really don't know what happens, but you will find a book that's selling in a certain genre, and suddenly it gets shifted. Now, it could be that perhaps you've got somebody that targets you. Like I said, you're going to have detractors, you're going to have haters, you're going to have people that's going to try to do stuff to hurt you. And it could be that they've said that your book doesn't fit in a certain genre or it belongs in another genre, and Amazon will take their word for it, or some employee will take their word for it, or some employee's done it to start with. Who knows where it comes from? But your book will end up shifted to the wrong genre, and then your sales will end. That'll be the end of it. Once your book gets moved to the wrong genre, you can try to get it moved back. You can go in and focus on your keywords and hope you can get it shifted back to the right place. But a lot of times you can't, and that's just the luck of the draw. That's just chance. It don't do you no good, baby. Now here's something that may shock you. Like I've said, some of my books are in erotica. The first book that was in erotica, I didn't put it there. Amazon put it there. I'm not going to go into details on that. I didn't fight it. I just accepted it. And in that particular case, it didn't belong in erotica, but I went back and I added erotic short stories to it. And I sexed it up a little bit. And at least temporarily, even though it didn't belong in erotica, it began selling in erotica. But, because I adjusted it so that it fit more in erotica. If I hadn't done that, it would have sat there and it would not have sold anything. So if you get a book that is moved from another genre to erotica, and the book doesn't really fit cleanly there, it doesn't really fit there. I mean, it's like any book put in the wrong genre, with the wrong cover, with the wrong blurb, with the wrong, text that people can read to sample the book. If they can look at it and they're looking for that genre, that's what they're looking for, and they see your book, and your book doesn't really belong in that genre. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's erotica or Western or whatever. If it's put in the wrong genre, it's going to kill sales. The sales will end. So when my book was moved to erotica, for whatever reason, I made changes in the book so that I could get the sales going in it. And during that period, I sold, I didn't get rich. Even the thought of getting rich, I didn't get rich on it. But I sold some, and so I prevented it from just totally killing sales, which would have happened if I hadn't actually changed the book. With some genres, you can get Amazon to move them, back to the genre where they belong. It's difficult to do. It can be done. With erotica, once it's moved there, it's very. The odds are, it don't matter how much you rant and rave to Amazon. It doesn't matter how much you complain. The odds are it's going to stay there in erotica. And what's more, it's going to be put in the worst part of erotica, which means it will have its rankings artificially devastated. Even if the book had previously had decent rankings, the rankings will be artificially ruined. They do all kind of crap to. When they set their mind to kill your book, they're going to kill your book. Now, whether it comes from some Amazon employee or from somebody complaining outside of Amazon, where they just go through books and they're basically just looking for something to. They're looking for people to hurt, and in some cases, like say if you're on Twitter or you're on Facebook, and you express political opinions that somebody doesn't like, or for whatever reason gets in somebody's head, they get a wild hair up their bun. If they set their mind to hurt you on the internet, and if you're trying to make money on the internet, and especially like you're trying to make money on Amazon provides a real good way for them to hurt you. And that's true with other online venues. If somebody wants to hurt you in that particular venue, and you're basically naive and don't know how to take up for yourself and don't know how to strike back, if you're just simply, too good of a person to even want to fight the fight, you can be hurt. You can be hurt, and it's hard. It's hard to fight back. It's hard to come back from when somebody damages you. It happens. Now, what happened after I had the book put in erotica by Amazon, not by me? Then after that, I did publish books in erotica. It was my choice to, to write erotic books and to publish them under erotica, because I was able to make a comeback with that book that Amazon moved to erotica. I was able to make some sales, and since I'd already had one book in erotica, I figured, well, okay, that's what I'll do. Go with the flow. That was my idea. Go with the flow, baby. But my advice, and this may surprise you, even though like I said, I write erotica. I've written erotica, and there's no shame in writing erotica. Please don't think what I'm saying is any way detracting from erotica as a genre, as a category. I'm not trying to put the category down. I'm not trying to put people down who write erotica. I've written erotica, I'm not trying to put anybody down. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. What I am saying is the way Amazon is right now. The way Amazon is right now. My advice is if you want to write erotica, write a sex story. Write a sex story. Don't go big on a other plot like I tend to do. Don't do what I've been doing. Don't go big in a plot. Make it simple. Make it a little romantic. Sex it up. But don't have a huge plot. Don't have a huge arc. That you go through in plot development. Don't do that. Just write a sex story. On the other hand, if you like writing plots, like I like writing plots, I really don't. I didn't start out to write erotica. My advice is put enough plot in it, even if your story is going to contain sex. Put enough plot in it. Make the book long enough, because short books with sex, they tend to fall in erotica anyway. I mean, that's part of the problem. If you write a longer book, it's more likely to have more plot in it, and so the sex is a less percentage of the book. So if you don't want your book to end up in erotica, write it longer and make sure that the sex stays where it's not a huge percent of the book, so that if somebody goes after you to hurt you and have your book move to erotica as a way to hurt you, not to help you, but to hurt you, that you will have a strong defense and tell Amazon they've done wrong. And if Amazon won't listen, scream. I didn't do that because my book did contain a good bit of explicit sex. I'm not going to go in details about it, but it really wasn't erotica, but it did contain sex. The sex was necessary for the plot. It wasn't written to be. It wasn't written to be porn. It wasn't written to be erotica. There was a point to the story, and the point required sex. And there's stories like that. And the odds are, if the person sees a story like that, if you've written a story like that, the odds are, at some point, if the wrong person sees it, or the wrong person wants to hurt you, they will have it moved to erotica. So my advice is, if your book requires sex, if the story requires sex, and there's nothing wrong with that, make sure you include enough plot that you can defend it not being put in erotica, that you can fight it being put in erotica. Because if your book is not basically just a sex story, it's not going to sell in erotica. If your story contains more plot than sex, it's not going to sell in erotica. Now, of course, you'll find exceptions. You'll find books in erotica that do contain a good bit of plot. And that writer, however they're doing it, they have found success, even though they have their book stuck in erotica, or they put their book in erotica. There's exceptions, obviously. There's always exceptions. But as a generality, as a general rule, if your book doesn't belong in erotica, if it's strong in plot and really doesn't belong in erotica, it's not going to sell in erotica. There are exceptions. Now, a problem I've got right now is I've started a series and it's really done badly. That's an understatement. Badly is an understatement. But it's a series, and it's I put it in erotica, and it has a fairly strong plot, and this particular part of the series that I'm working on now, it actually has very little sex in it. It really doesn't belong in erotica, and but I put the other part of the series in erotica. So I don't know whether I need to sex it up or I need to see if I can get by with simply not putting this particular part of the series in erotica. If Amazon will let me leave this particular book out of erotica, and of course that would put more eyes on it, and it could potentially help the series. If this particular book's not put in erotica, but my experience is even if I don't put it in erotica, Amazon will move it to erotica anyway. And the other part of the series, I put in erotica. It's like I said, the series isn't doing well. I'm not really sure why, what I've done wrong. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this. I can tell you my experience and what I think from my experience, but I'm not an expert, and I don't mean to present myself as one. This is just my experience, and my belief right now is you're better off if you don't have your books in erotica. That you will do better if you don't. At the same time, your books probably do need some level of sex. The better sellers have some level of sex or romance, even if it's not, in the category of romance. It kind of needs those elements. And but I think right now erotica really is not a good category to be in. And like I said, my problem right now is I have a series that I started out in erotica, and I would like to seriously this particular book that will be part of the series. I really don't want it in erotica. Of course, I know I can't move the other books out of erotica. Once you put a book in erotica, it's stuck there. You can't get it out. I mean, especially if you put four books of a series in erotica, you're not going to get them out. And they do contain, some level of sex. One of them extremely a high level of sex. So I've got that problem. I'm tempted to just start a new series, kind of based on the same concept, because the series hasn't sold well. So I'm not sure. I really don't want to recreate the characters though and redo all that. I want to stay with the way I've got it set up. So I'm not sure. I may just go and publish it, in erotica, even though it doesn't fit. Going against everything I've just said. Going against everything I've just said. So I mean, I often don't even take my own advice. I guess that's the point. But anyway, thanks for listening. I know this has kind of been long. Thanks for listening and watching. Thank you. Thank you very much.